we sell an ingredient, and our clients are baking the cake, and they're all baking a different kind of cake or a different type of loaf of bread. We sell an ingredient, and that ingredient is active housing market data, so they can build what they need to build.
Welcome to Powerhouse, where we interview the biggest names in housing and ask them about their strategy for growth. I'm Diego Sanchez, president of HousingWire, and I have a special guest today, Clayton Collins, the CEO of HousingWire. Clayton, welcome back to your old show.
Thrilled to be here. I don't know how I found my way back to this microphone. I joked with you before we got on air, but yesterday was the first time I plugged in a microphone since 2024. So I feel like I'm coming back to the old campus for a walk around.
Well, let's see if there's any rust. And by the way, what's up with the beard?
That's the seeded question. You're the culprit on this, Diego. So. I don't even remember what I originally joked, but I joked that hey, I'm not going to shave until we sell 100 more tickets to the gathering. And, as you and I do sometimes, it spirals. We egg each other on. And next thing I know, I'm not shaving until we sell 500 tickets to the gathering. So I am, channeling my bearded friends like Chris Griffith and Nate Nottingham has one now. Nate Smoyer. I'm thinking of all of our bearded friends here, and I hope they're listening, but gents, I really don't want to look like you with that long beard, so I have to sell some tickets fast.
Nate Smoyer's beard is pretty wild now. It is long.
Yep, it is.
All right. So love that thing that we're doing with the gathering. By the way, the gathering is coming up pretty soon, about 65, 70 days.
I think it's 73, June. Diego.
Yeah, and we're excited about it. We're gonna get 1,000+ housing executives out to Colorado Springs, and it should be a really beautiful event.
Yeah, it's the gathering is special for a lot of reasons. One, the venues are always awesome, but ultimately at HousingWire, we have the chance to cover the industry for mortgage and real estate executives and professionals 365 days a year. And we try to make it a two-way conversation as often as possible. But that relationship is digital largely, and the opportunity to come together in person and actually be able to interact and see and talk with and share food and drink with the folks that we interact with digitally so often is such a pleasure for us. And we hope it's a pleasure for our audience members who get the chance to spend time with like-minded professionals who thrive on information and use that knowledge that they gain through HousingWire digitally and then HousingWire from our programming on stage to drive strategy, make decisions, grow businesses, be better leaders. And the gathering is truly the opportunity for some of the most impactful leaders in housing and those who aspire to be impactful leaders in housing to come together in the same room and get better. This last few weeks, we've seen so many massive strategic decisions made in the industry, some big M&A deals announced that you've covered here on this podcast, and Sarah and James have covered on HousingWire Daily. And some of those deals and some of those moves, put people in a have the potential to put people in a defensive stance. But the take that I've had, and I had dinner last night with a really high growth real estate brokerage executive, and we talked a lot about how iron sharpens iron. Mm-hmm. And I think that phrase is really important for the folks that are joining us in Colorado Springs. As you put yourself around the best people in housing, the most talented people who have the skill, the experience, and largely recently the capital to do big things, it will make the folks around you stronger if you approach it with the right mindset.
And we'll see it in Colorado Springs. The folks that are going to be there are not afraid of what's happening in the industry right now.
No, not at all. And that's the iron sharpens iron mentality. You see your competition getting better. You have two choices. Do you retreat or do you get better? And
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, this industry needs people that are willing to get better, make the industry better and more profitable and more efficient, but ultimately create better consumer experiences and further this dream of home ownership that we all obviously believe in, since we dedicate so much of our time, life, and energy to this space.
Well, let's take it back to the origin story. How did a retail and investment banker end up acquiring a business media company?
Man, I feel like our HousingWire audience has heard this story so many times, but I'll keep it quick for the for some of the folks that you've attracted now that you've taken over
New
Powerhouse.
audience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was a banker by background at big New York banks and a Canadian bank. Got exposure to the retail, small business lending side of the financial services ecosystem, and then jumped over to M&A advisory. But when I was doing M&A work, I fell in with a group that, as an associate in my early days, that was doing a lot of media and technology deals, and loved the media and technology deal making space. But one of the things that I felt was missing for me is what happens after the deal. And
Mm.
like you've been on Wall Street too, Diego. Like the models, the forecasts, the books, the sims that like junior bankers build and ultimately you take out to market companies for fundraising or M&A. What happens after that? What happens after the deal concludes and the press release sends? Like, how does the integration work? Are there revenue synergies? Are there cost synergies? Does all the operational promise of bringing two businesses together actually come to fruition? And, as I was a couple of years in at the bank I was working with in New York, I was like, yeah, I just got to see the other side of a transaction. And I felt my entrepreneurial ambitions really starting to bubble up, and knew that the life I wanted, the career I wanted for long haul is a little bit different in the path I was heading down. So I left investment banking, raised a little bit of money, went out and hunted for deals. And I was fortunate to meet the founders of HousingWire in that process. And that relationship ultimately led to me acquiring the business from the founders, Paul Jackson and Richard Bittner, in 2016. My wife and I immediately moved. We're coming from New York, did a short stop in Charlotte, and then moved out to Dallas to run the business. And April 25th of this year marks our 9-year anniversary.
Wow.
But the vision we've had with HousingWire has definitely evolved over the years, but stayed very similar. So one of the most attractive parts of HousingWire is out the gate, which I think is really differentiated from a lot of B2B media businesses, is that the founders invested in quality content. They hired great reporters, they hired great editors to build a newsroom DNA that helped build trust and audience from an early stage. That baseline, that foundation has enabled us to expand our vision for what HousingWire can and will be, which is the information services and media business that brings the full picture of market intelligence to housing professionals. So today we serve users and readers and clients from mortgage origination to loan servicing and capital markets to real estate brokerage and appraisal and valuation and home building. We look at the whole value chain of the residential housing transaction, and we think that's our charge, to cover that from a newsroom perspective and serve those audience members. In turn, we gain the benefit of being able to bring those people to events and bring them on as subscribers to HousingWire and work with them through our Alto SaaS business to active real-time housing market data. And now most recently, the launch that we just brought to market in April, like this month, is HousingWire Data, which brings this big picture, this real-time housing market data to enterprise clients. Now we're able to work with lenders and real estate brokerages and prop techs and hedge funds and home builders, not just on the news, but also providing them real-time housing market data that helps them make decisions. And Diego, that step, this launch is a big part of our vision and charge to bring the full picture to housing professionals. I'm not going to stop. You're not going to stop until we're giving professionals the information they need to make decisions better, more efficiently, and faster, ultimately make more money and create a better housing economy. And I think that's the path we're running down.
Yeah, I want to return to HousingWire Data in a moment. When you think about the growth that we've had over the past 9 years of your ownership of the business, it has been an interesting mix of inorganic growth and organic growth. Tell me a little bit more about that strategy of kind of balancing out M&A with building things internally.
I've always admired and, and to a degree emulated the business operators that weren't one trick ponies. And I give a lot of credit to actually one of our investors, Will Thorndike, wrote a book years ago called The Outsiders. And Will talked about 5 exceptional CEOs that were fabulous capital allocators inside of their business. They understand which levers to pull at different points in a business cycle, an economic cycle, and in certain situations. So as an operator, I've always thought about the idea and the complicated idea that growth does not have to have a single complexion. There are times when you want to take your available resources, your cash flow, your capital, and invest into organic opportunities, whether that's new product development, scaling sales and marketing teams, building new products, or launching like completely new business lines. There's other times where those organic opportunities might not really exist, and the best use of capital is through the financial means, whether you're paying out a dividend to investors or putting cash on the balance sheet or reducing debt. And there's other times where you want to look at inorganic opportunities and say, hey, this is a market where we can get to where we want to go faster through M&A. And we're still a small to mid-sized business, but I think that we have proven that we know when to pull respective levers. And ultimately, we're a really ambitious business, and there's some things that we have learned how to do organically. It's pretty phenomenal to me over the last 4 years how we've kind of gone from an organization that was completely dependent on outside developers and technology solutions to drive daily operations to an organization that has a full technology product and engineering team that we can actually build now. And and I'm watching like the team that you lead with Holden Page actually build things that years ago we would have just been waiting on a SaaS provider to bring to us. And we still definitely love our like best of breed partners that bring technology into the organization, but we've learned how to build on top of that. We've also learned how to do M&A and bring businesses like Real Trends and Altos into the business and build and improve on the foundation that was already built, bringing some of our best of breed skills to those organizations while learning from the best of breed capabilities and products that Real Trends and Altos have brought into our company. So it's a dynamic approach. I joke sometimes that like it's nearly impossible to try to run an organic and inorganic strategy at the same time, but we've figured out a cadence on how to get it done.
Yeah, I think we're doing it. I mean, we've done 3 acquisitions in the 6+ years that I've been with the business. And I think we're contemplating more. Are you thinking about more acquisitions this year or next year?
Yeah, I mean, it's deal making's hard, but we know where we want to go, and we know that in some circumstances, M&A can be our faster path to get there. But if the right deal doesn't present itself, with the right like company, team, and structure, then we know we can build it. So we know that we need to bring more business intelligence to our loan originator audience. Like we're working very thoughtfully on our organic or inorganic path to get there. We believe that what we've learned from Real Trends and our rankings and recognition business actually brings a lot of market intelligence to who's gaining market share and who's losing market share in the real estate agent and broker world. We think the loan origination audience, deserves to have that knowledge coming from HousingWire as well. And so we're really eager to get into that space, and it's pretty phenomenal to see what our team is capable of doing. But certainly looking at deals as well. The other like areas that we're we're really interested in are bringing more data and business intelligence to the whole housing market ecosystem. So like Altos brought us real time real estate data that tracks all active market listings that we bring to real estate agents and loan originators and title reps through the Altos product and also through the HousingWire Data product. But we can be more robust there and tying in economic data and other forward-looking indicators that help people make forward-looking decisions. And that's a vision of where we're going. But ultimately, like today we cover the residential housing landscape. We see the whole real estate ecosystem as an area we have interest in. So we'll see where the path goes.
When I first joined the business, I feel like we were like 90% advertising and sponsored content. And this year will be probably 60% not advertising and sponsored content. What are some of those other areas that we've been pushing into over the past 6 years that diversify the business?
Yeah, I see. I said a North Star. I keep saying 5 years ago. It's probably 6 years ago at this point. To get to a balance point where we're seeing equal amounts of revenue coming from corporate clients and our users. I believe that creates an incentive system that keeps businesses like very on point to who they're serving. And like we know the importance of our audience and users at HousingWire more than anybody. We're keenly aware of the importance of our users. So we've built this model where we've launched HousingWire subscription, where we have over it's like 12.1, 12.2 thousand housing professionals that are paying us to subscribe to HousingWire, get access to all of our content. We have our Altos SaaS business with thousands of real estate mortgage and title professionals that pay to subscribe to Altos. We have our events business, The Gathering, as well as our one-day summits, the AI Summit, IMB Summit, and an Econ Summit, our HousingWire Awards and Real Trends rankings and recognitions programs. So it's a diversified model, but it all aligns under that vision of bringing like the full picture of information to housing professionals. So today we've actually tilted past that North Star of 50% of revenue coming directly from our users, and I think that's done nothing but strengthen our relationship and strengthen our obligation of service to those users. And like we, do nothing that's not cheering for the success of the best mortgage and real estate professionals out there. And I love that relationship we've been able to develop with the audience.
Yeah, I do too. So earlier this week, we relaunched and rebranded our data licensing business, which is now called HousingWire Data. You brought it up before. What is HousingWire Data?
So HousingWire Data, takes our unique proprietary data set, which tracks all active market real estate listings in the country. So we track over 110 million properties, and we do it for dozens of different data points that are important to some of the innovators in the housing industry. So we're tracking all active market listings. We see things like listing date, price improvements, aka price reductions or price increases, square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, clearly like days on market, when homes go pending, when they close. So we're able to track that information and share that with our enterprise clients so they can leverage it for running AVMs or marketing strategies or investment strategies or market selection strategies for M&A or recruiting or home building. And we also serve this same clientele with a very similar data capability on the rental side of the market. And then we also do some of the analysis and serve a trends file. It lets people see these week over week, month over month, year over year trends in the real estate data so they can build better businesses, because we all know that in a world of digital first strategies and artificial intelligence, data is king. And we want to be able to give our clients a really nimble enterprise solution that they can build around. And we do things different than some of the other data providers in the market. Like we have a very high degree of flexibility around use cases that our clients can leverage the data for. We know our lane, we know who we serve well, and we work with some of the best innovators in the housing industry who are building really cool things and making big decisions that really do impact the housing market.
Let's talk more about that lane. What kinds of clients do you think make up the sort of ideal customer profile for HousingWire Data?
Yeah, so high level, innovators that need real estate data to build really cool things to make decisions. Getting more granular, our client list includes hedge funds, asset managers, home builders, single family rental operators, independent mortgage banks, real estate brokerages, and prop tech companies. There's it's diverse, but it's representative of our audience at HousingWire, representative of the kinds of clients we work with at HousingWire. Ultimately, we sell an ingredient, and our clients are baking the cake, and they're all baking a different kind of cake or a different type of loaf of bread. We sell an ingredient, and that ingredient is active housing market data, so they can build what they need to build.
We have a half dozen data sets right now that we're going to market with. How are you thinking about growing that list of data sets that we bring to market through HousingWire Data?
Yeah, so I think that's going to be through partnerships, M&A, and a little bit of proprietary work. So like we have a big expansion opportunity ahead of us in this real estate data space where we operate now. We'll test new things over time and respond to client requests. Like for example, like in the coming months, we will launch sold data. Sold, it brings the I know I think a few of our sales team members are already out there kind of beta testing that with some clients. But the sold data is a result of clients asking for something, us figuring out a solution on how to get it. And sold's a complex data point to bring in, considering that we have, I think it's 13 or 14 states that are non-disclosure. Like every market's different. We figured out a path. And so Diego, I've always to subscribe to the belief that sell something to people that they want to buy, and so I listen to our clients. We listen to the market and respond to that.
So you lead our marketing team at HousingWire. How have you and Ronak, our head of marketing, brought this HousingWire data vision to life over the past couple of months?
Yeah, so it started with an understanding of what was working well and what wasn't working so well in like our prior go-to-market strategy, and really looking at what clients and prospects were responding to, and also figuring out how we bring focus. So one of the drivers of the launch of HousingWire Data is that the licensing capability used to sit inside of our Altos business unit. And we see this huge potential for the Altos SaaS business. And I think we were starting to create some brand confusion. Like, is Altos a SaaS business that serves real estate agents, or is it an enterprise data licensing business? And we wanted to bring some clarity to that confusion. That was one of the objectives of bringing the capability to HousingWire and launching this new division. We worked with a partner, a brand agency called 1000 Watt, on helping really understand what the market wanted here, and developing our brand story and narrative and look and feel. And 1000 Watt's a partner we've worked with on several projects now. So just shout out to Brian Boero and Mark Davidson and team. That's part of the path. Ultimately, marketing a business that has 6 or 7 like core business lines requires really tight integration and figuring out where things fit and how you tell the story, and don't create confusion inside of the market and client base. So Ronak and I definitely had a tough charge ahead of us as we launched HousingWire Data. But I think we've landed in a position with this enterprise data licensing business where we couldn't be more clear over the value we provide, why it fits inside of the HousingWire ecosystem, and how it's different from what else is out there in the market.
Great. So let's wrap with this question. How can the potential clients in the Powerhouse audience, potential clients of HousingWire Data, get more information about this business?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty clear on our priorities at HousingWire. So if you visit housingwire.com, you can check out our toolbar at the top of the page. We have news, events, video, and we also have three of our core business lines: and HousingWire Data, Altos, and Real Trends. So right from the top of the homepage, you can see HousingWire Data or HW Data right there. Check it out. I'm sure I can twist some arms and get a link added to the show notes as well. But ultimately, this solution is not going to be for everybody in the industry. Like this, we work really great with teams that know how to integrate data into their business and realize the importance of active market, real-time data for driving decision making, and have the teams that know how to integrate through our API and analyze and build products. So we're not trying to be everything to everybody. This is not our loan originator or real estate agent solution. This is our enterprise solution for some of the big corporates we work with. And I'll be proud to serve more people if we have that opportunity.
Well, this has been awesome. Been great catching up with you in this show that used to be yours. Been fun having you on the hot seat a little bit. Thank you so much, Clayton.
Thanks for having me back. Talk to you soon, Diego.